From the TPG side today then we have myself, John Downing. I'll be running through a little bit of background and then diving straight into the Project PowerPack solution demo. We also have Kate, Head of Marketing, who will be answering questions and also following up after the session. A little bit of admin then. There is a small questions input box in GoToWebinar over on that right hand side. So if you do have any questions throughout the session, please do ask them here. And this webinar is being recorded and will be available along with the slides after the session. A little bit about who we are then. We're an international PPM consulting organization. We deliver consulting services from specific processes all the way up to PPM strategy. We deliver solutions ranging from Project PowerPack that I'm about to show you, up to things like Project Server on-premise and also Planisware deployments as well. We have a number of products. The most famous of ours is PS Link, our world-leading SAP certified middleware. And we also deliver training in all facets of PPM. A quick look at some of our customers then. I think the key take home here is that we deal with organizations large and small in many different sectors, and also that the projects that we undertake are from very light touch projects all the way up to very large enterprise and complex deployments. I am going to go over the next couple of slides very quickly indeed. I have gone into them in more detail in previous sessions, so please do go and check out our YouTube channel if you want to see more detail on these. So TPG Project PowerPack then on the Microsoft Power Platform. Well, the Microsoft Power Platform is a powerful set of applications within the Microsoft Dataverse based on a no-code, low-code architecture. And the applications we've got are Power Automate, which we're going to use to manage our flow of data and automate our processes. We're going to use Power Apps to create a rich, consistent and user-friendly interface through which we can view and interact with our interconnected data, and that interconnected data is going to be a key theme throughout today. And we've got Power BI, where we can create powerful reports to visualize and tell stories with our data and of course share those with the stakeholders in the business. Power Virtual Agents, not quite so much at the moment, but certainly if that is of interest, please do get in touch. So we have three different versions of our pre-configured solution. We have one with Project for the web, we have one with Tpg Scheduler, and one with Project Online as well. So this means that we have the flavor of scheduling to suit any PPM maturity or indeed aspiration. And it's certainly a great start to any PPM journey because it can grow with the organization. And we can start off down with Project for the web with some more simple, straightforward projects, moving through to Tpg Scheduler, where we have a bit more of a heavyweight tool, and then of course up to the real complex, very large and complex projects with Project Online. What's great about this as well is we can overlay this on top of existing Project Online deployments. These are the versions which are available so far, but certainly more will be coming in the future. I'm going to skip over this one very quickly as well then, but the key thing I'm going to mention here is that irrespective of which scheduling version you take, you will be getting all of the features of Project PowerPack. So they are common irrespective of whether you go for Project for the web, TPG Scheduler, or indeed the Project Online version. Over into the demo then. Now, first thing we can see here, this is TPG Project PowerPack, accessible through Microsoft 365 by logging in your browser. We can see we've got Power BI straight away, and I can click on any of the elements in here and I can get my Power BI reports straight away, pulling that data that's in the system to the forefront, easy for the users to slice and dice. As you can see at the bottom, we have a number of different pre-configured reports as part of the solution. I'm going to come to those in a bit more detail towards the end of this session. Just a word on pre-configured versus configuration. So again, everything you see here is the pre-configured solution. We can come in and change the different reports that you can see in here and the information that's needed for those users as they first log into the system. So that's all totally configurable. Now again, the interlink data now starts to come to the forefront here. We can see with My Work Home, we can now see all of the elements in the system which are related to me. So we have my pending requests, we have my active risks, we have my active issues, and my active projects. Again, anything that makes sense in your business could appear here if we wanted to configure it that way, but for now I'm just going to go through the elements that we have got here. My pending requests then, so again, hyperlinks everywhere. I can get into the data really easily. I can come in and see my pending request and I can make some changes to it, and then if I wanted to I could move that on to the next stage, having entered all the data which is required at that particular stage. Risks, issues are going to be sort of a key theme in this particular session. So the content management piece, again, very easy not just to see the data at this top level and see some of the information related to that data. So relevant to me, I have these different risks here. These are my active risks. I can see which project they're in, the exposure, the category. Again, these can all be changed and configured to what is needed, but also I can come in here and I can add in records as well. So I can come in and I can straight away, I can add a new webinar risk. I'm going to go for 1 there as well. I can start to assign it to a project straight away as well. So I don't have to go in and find that project, which I will do in a second, but I don't have to do that. I can just assign it to a project here. So maybe I've had a discussion with my project team or a number of my project team members from maybe different projects. I can start to assign risks quickly to a number of different projects. I'm just going to add me in here quickly as well, just so it floats to the top of this view, and I'm going to make it very likely, and the consequences are going to be very bad indeed. So again, we can see I've just added that in, and we can now see my new webinar risk 1, and again the exposure is there as well, which is very, very useful. If I wanted to then, so I've done it at that top level, I could also come into my project, so I click on the hyperlink, so I've got that option there. I could have done that in my active projects as well. I scan along here and I find the piece that's relevant to me in this case, which is going to be the risks. I will cover the other pieces as well in a bit more detail later in the session, but I can come in here to my risks and I can start to add in a new risk here as well. So this is risk from the bottom up, and that's going to be a key theme as well, which is that we can add in data from the top down, but also the bottom up as well, which is very useful, very quick and easy for all the users of the system. And there we go, we've now got 2 risks in here as well. So if I talk through the active risks piece in a little bit more detail here, I do have a pie chart at the top as well, and I can get into some more detail here and start to see not just my active risks, which is now obviously in full screen and a bit easier to see with all the different columns, but I could also, depending on what my permissions are, start to see all of the active risks in the system as well. Again, all configurable at this point. I'm going to go back to my active risks just to show you that I can as well start to look at this pie chart down here, and I can click on this particular project. So this was the Migrate to CDS project, and I can now see that those risks on the right hand side have been filtered down. I can take that a step further and I can come and drill down as well if I wanted to. I'm going to choose owner in this case, and I'm going to represent this based on the owner in a bar chart in this case. So I'm going to see actually there's 2, as we can see over here in the system. One's against me and one's against Florian. Let's have a look at Florian's one, click on that, and again this is now filtered down nicely for us. So something else to mention here then, so at the moment we have our risks which are assigned to me. Something that we get commonly is also to have risks which are assigned to my project as well, so that's also totally possible. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to actually use over here on my active project. I've got my project scheduling, content management and reporting project. I'm going to click over here on that particular project, and I'm now going to create another risk. So I'm going to come back to project details in a second once we've gone through risks and issues. But I'm going to click over here. I'm going to create another new risk as well. So this is big risk number 2. I'm going to again assign that to myself just so it floats up to that top level. I'm then going to make that really likely, and again very bad consequences here as well. So now when I start to click on the risk matrix over here, you can see it actually starts to filter down as well, which again is something that the customers with the solution really love to see. Now issues, again, another really easy way of pulling data into the system here. We have our new issue, and I can create issue number 1 in here. Now this is quite useful as well. Project, again, I am in this project for now, but if I needed to create from here an issue in another project, I can also do that. So I know there's one in here, migrate to CDS. I've now, again, assigned that to myself in this case. I've now created an issue because of the permissions in the system assigned to that particular project. So I can save and close that from here. It doesn't show up here, but if I go back to my work, you can see that actually that issue number 1 is now against migrate to CDS, which again, that bottom up adding of the data is very useful as well. So again, this nice, easy to use interface. If I then come back to this issue and decide actually I need to change something on here, I can click on that, and maybe I need to change that issue to postponed, and I can save and close that, and that's then going to drop off my list of active issues. Right, so on to another piece of the content management that really sets this solution apart. If I jump into my project down here, I can see my actions tab. And again, this is something that our customers really love. It's a nice Kanban view of the world, so we can apply this to any of the lists in here actually, and also we can of course configure any of the buckets as well if that's needed. But I've got already one action in here, which you can see I can move around nice and easily. I'm just going to create another one as well. So maybe I've had a meeting and I'm now going to send out my PowerPoint slides, and then I'm going to schedule a new meeting. Schedule the next meeting. I'm going to assign that to myself again, and this time I'm going to make this one a high priority. Could add some due dates and things, which I won't do for now. And you can see as well as the nice easy interface, we've got the little tags as well, which is quite neat. Again, I can start to move these around down here if that's what I'd like to do. I can start to collapse some of these buckets as well if I need to do that. But again, one of the key things here is that not only can I enter data down in my project, so it wasn't difficult to get down to the project, but maybe I'm a project manager that has lots of different projects in the system. It is also easy to come into my actions at this top level, and I've got all the actions in the system for now. Again, swim lanes for the different projects. Maybe I'll go to my action items here just to kind of cut that down a little bit, and you can see for these 2 particular projects I've got some actions. So again, I can manage all of these in the system as well. So I've created them at that bottom level, and now I'm going to start moving these around. So this one I've actually done now. I've sent that out to my project team, and this is what I'm going to be working on next. So I'll move those around there. I'm then going to come back into my work and grab this project again, because it's a nice easy way to do that. Come back into my actions list. And you can see here that we have had those moved around for us, which is very nice indeed. And again, we have things like filtering as well, so I can start to go and just look for my meeting or just for the PowerPoint, for example, and that's going to filter down nicely as well. So again, this can be applied to practically any table in the system, which is very nice indeed. And before I move on to the scheduling piece, I'm now just going to cover a couple of the other content management entry points in this system. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on these, but I will touch on some of the lists that we have here. So status updates then, just to use this one as a bit of an example, I can add some data. Again, the quick, easy to use interface here on when my status report for my project is going to be. So I'm just going to say all going well here. Just as an example, and I can submit it to a particular stakeholder in the business, which again for me now is just going to be me. And we can see, okay, so now we've got the summary and some of the other columns here that we've entered. So I think the key theme here is going to be, yes, we have a set of pre-configured lists, but if there's something else that you need in your business, or indeed need to hide or unhide some of these, depending on the complexities of the particular projects, the types of the particular projects, or even where in the life cycle that particular project is, of course, that can be done as well. Changes, again, another nice easy entry point to input some data. Actions we've talked about already, decisions, again, same sort of theme here. I'm not going to delve into each one of these specifically, but as I said, the key point is that there are lots of entry points in here straight off the shelf, but we can customize these to your requirements as well. So I'm briefly going to mention the Teams integration at this point, although I am going to save a detailed dive into this for another session. Key thing to note is that we can create Teams channels in Microsoft Teams to house each of these elements here, so you get a seamless view of the Project PowerPack that you've seen so far, both in this and in previous sessions as well. But like I said, that one will be coming in a more detailed session down the road. On to scheduling then. So we have 3 scheduling tools which are part of our pre-configured solutions of Project PowerPack. The first one I'm about to show you now, which is Project for the Web, and we also have TPG Scheduler and Project Online. Now, Project for the Web is Microsoft's latest scheduling offering, and it's a really nice interface with which to create basic schedules and input data into the system in a similar way to how we have done so far throughout this and previous demos. So I'm just going to add in some information here so we can see what this looks like. So I'm going to add in a milestone as well. I'm going to add in durations here. So in my grid view, you can see nice and easy to add that information in. I can add some additional columns as well. So there are some that are part of the solution. I can add a new field, but when I click this, I'm going to draw your attention to this piece here, which is basically that I can add fields, but that's going to be local to this specific project. It's not something that I'm going to be able to control centrally or indeed roll up and report on that data. So that's one key element which I will cover as part of TPG Scheduler and Project Online shortly. Now I'm in here as well, I'm going to assign these tasks as well. So I'm going to assign myself one and also Florian one as well. And this is controlled by my groups up here. So as the project manager, I can synchronize and create groups to add my project team and then add them to the relevant tasks. I am now going to make those subtasks as well, and then I'm going to jump into the timeline view and show you what that looks like. So again, this is a really nice user interface here. I can hook my tasks up together, so get those dependencies planned in the project, and really nice and easy to drag tasks around. So I've increased the duration there, and I'm actually going to have that one a bit delayed off of this task. So I've pulled that around as well, which is again very nice and neat. If I add another task in here quickly as well, I'm then going to this time use this little eye to show more information. I'm actually going to add in my duration. I'm going to use its suggested 2 days of duration here, and I'm actually going to just pop that in here like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, actually you can calculate critical path with this as well. So I'm going to click on critical path, and it's now going to show, because I've moved that along actually, it's now going to show my critical path. I put that back where it was. So these are all the driving tasks towards the end of the project. Now I'm going to jump into the board view as well, and this is a really nice view. So those of you familiar with Planner might recognize this. I can start off by creating some buckets. So bucket 1, and I'm going to create bucket 2 as well in here. Now again, similar to the fields that we saw a second ago, this is local to this project. It does not roll up centrally. It cannot be configured centrally either. Having said that, I'm going to drag that one around, just show that it's nice and easy to move these. It's also very good to change to something like maybe assign to as well. So in this case, rather than go through my grid view and assign Florian one by one, I can just drag these tasks over to Florian, and let's go and have a look. We'll see in here, yeah, he's got most of the tasks now, and that's good. But also what's quite nice is I can come in here and I can set this to progress as well. So I can say that certain things are in progress currently, or of course I can then move these over to completed, and it's going to then show me that this is complete. As well, I can click on charts here and see that I've got 4 tasks. I've got some effort in here as well, which is useful. However, everything that we have got in here, all the data that we've put in here, we can roll up in Power BI. So that's the place where we tend to use the data in our graphical outputs and aggregate it all up. But we have got some charts in here that are specific for this project. Something to mention briefly as well at this point is this task here, which I've extended the duration. It's also increased the effort here. So this is something we don't have as much control in this particular version as we might in some of the others. Around we have increased the duration, therefore the effort will increase as well. So that was Project PowerPack with Project for the Web. As I said, a really nice user interface here, and it is getting more functionality all the time. However, at this point in time, we would say that this is suited to the more straightforward of scheduling needs. And so our customers have said to us we need something that's a little bit more heavy duty as far as scheduling is concerned. And also in this case a little more classical looking as well, which again a lot of our customers do like, and this is TPG Scheduler. So I'm going to add in some information here. I'm going to add in some tasks, so I can add in tasks above or below, which is quite nice. So I'm going to add in a few tasks here, and I'm going to stick a milestone at the end as well. So milestone is going to be there. So let's add some durations. So I'm going to make this 5 days, 5 days, and then milestone is 0 days, so that's great. I'm going to, not going to move these around for now, but I am going to indent these two. Again, similar to what we've seen with Project for the Web, I can create my linkages here as well, which is very nice. So I can create those really quick schedules. But what is really good about this particular solution is we can see we've got a number of columns along the top here. And now, because we have complete control over this scheduling tool, not only can we have new fields in here as different views, but we can also create brand new custom fields as well. So these will apply to all projects in the system, and these will also roll up as well, which is also very useful, particularly with the reporting piece. Obviously you've got data in the system, you want to be able to roll that up and report out on that the whole portfolio. So I'm just going to tag this milestone then as a payment milestone, so I can then look at all the milestones across the entire system and then slice by payment just to see my payment milestones. Assigning resources then, so I'm going to scoot over to my project team tab and I'm going to add a new team member here. I'm going to add firstly an enterprise resource, so I'm going to select from my enterprise resource pool and I'm going to select Florian. But then I'm also going to create a local resource as well, so a resource which is just going to be used on my project. So I want to maybe do some work calculations, local resource JD, do some work calculations or whatever. So I do want a resource on my project, but I'm not worried about aggregating up that data. I'm not worried about other projects being able to see this resource. So I've just created that, and you can see now if I come to assigned resources, I've now got the option of either of these two to be able to assign. I'm going to assign Florian to start with, and now I'm going to start looking at some of the detail behind this task, and we can see, okay, so we've got things like in the advanced tab, then we've got things like calendars that we can set. We've now got more control over the scheduling mode as well, so where previously we were extending the duration and the work was increasing as well, and we had little control over it, and now we can change how that affects the different elements of work and duration. We've got constraint types as well, so we can set must start on, finish no earlier than, and we can set the dates in there as well. We can also set tasks to inactive as well, which is very useful indeed. Resources we've just seen, so we can build the resources on a particular task through this interface. I could come back in here and add some more resources as well. So in that case, I'm going to add the one that remains, which is the local resource JD. In there, you can see that's now popped in. Edit this task again. We can see the successors and the predecessors as well. So I could come in and link that up to a number of different tasks in the project. easily there, and also the general tab, we've got some effort in there, as we've had 2 resources over 5 days, and then they've got the duration and other things that we've seen already on here too. So just to finish off then, I've got a few small features around showing task labels, so adding the task name to the Gantt chart on the right hand side, showing the critical path, which of course we've just done in Project for the Web as well, and also just slightly adjusting the format of the tasks in the view. Now, something that does set this apart from Project for the Web is the ability to set a baseline. So I have set a line in the sand, and now I can see how my tasks have moved compared to that line drawn in the sand, and that's something that our customers really like. So again, TPG Scheduler, the slightly more heavyweight version of a scheduling tool, and now I'm going to talk through the Project Online version of our TPG ProjectPowerPack. Right, so here you can see that the interface is exactly the same. The key difference is going to be this Open in MS Project button at the top. Before I hit that button, I'm just going to clear something up and say that so far I've been calling this the Project Online version, but actually if I go into projects, you can see that we do have a project type field, and we can have Project for the Web and Project Online projects coexisting in the same solution. So maybe I've got something that's a small project, a little bit more straightforwards. I can come in here and I can create a project for the web project, and like I said, if there's something a little bit more complicated, I need the scheduling power of the scheduling engine in Microsoft Project, I can create a Project Online project. Now just where is that set in this solution? So if I go back to my project request, as I said before, everything is linked, so I can go back to my project request. In this pre-configured solution, as part of the approval request, we've confirmed here it is set initially, but then confirmed as part of the approval that this is going to be a Project Online project. So when that goes through the approval process, it then creates that Project Online project in the background and synchronizes it all with our nice interface here to enter our data. So I'm going to hit our Open in MS Project button then, and it's going to fire open our project in Microsoft Project Professional, which is of course linked to our Project Online environment in the background. We can see that actually this is templated. I'm just going to make a couple of changes quickly so we can see that data synchronized back into the PPP solution, the Project PowerPack solution. Let's just make those changes and publish while I talk this through. So as I was just saying there, this is actually a templated project. Depending on what is set when the project was first created, we can change the different types of the enterprise project types in Project Online, and indeed any of the functionality that you're used to having in Project Online we can also employ and synchronize data between in the background, which is really rather useful. So again, this particular solution is great for those who really need the scheduling power of the project scheduling engine in Project Professional. One of the great things about this particular solution as well is actually that we can overlay this on top of an existing Project Online environment. So as I mentioned before, this particular version has Project for the Web and Project Online projects. We have customers that have both in one solution, but some of which just use Project Online projects from their existing Project Online environment. So that's totally possible as well. If I now hit refresh, we can see that actually some of this is updated. So you saw I set a custom field there to active, and that's been updated, and also my progress based on the changes that I made to my project a second ago has been pulled through as well. And of course, anything that you need to use in your business, any of the fields you need to pull through, we can configure it to pull those through. So reporting then, I'm going to jump back into this environment and going to talk a little bit about some of the reports. I'm not going to go into each one of these in great detail. I think the take home here is going to be that any data that you've seen in the system, we can report on that data, we can pull that into Power BI reports, but also there are a huge number of pre-configured reports already as part of the pre-configured PowerPack solution, irrespective of which version of scheduling you go for. I will click through a few of these then. Of course, one of the great features of Power BI is the ability to click on the visuals and slice and dice that information. And it's going to be possible on all the tabs along here as well. So again, project request prioritization to help out with our decision making. Going to scoot straight down into projects and show you that there's again a whole number of tabs along the bottom here, pulling all the data from each of the different sections that we've got up in the main app. Again, from things like the status reporting through to the risks, changes, actions, issues, and things of that nature as well. Portfolio then, pulling the data up to portfolio level, but of course if there's another aggregation element that makes sense in your business, of course we can develop reports to pull those up to those levels as well. Of course I can click on any of these hyperlinks and we can start to see the information straight in the project record itself. Again, just click on a couple of these. We've got the work piece, we've got the financials as well, all aggregated up to the different portfolios and programs within the system. Resourcing then, again, always an important one. We've got a number of different views in here showing that demand versus capacity balance from the various inputs within the system, whether it be the schedule itself or the high level resourcing, which I've showed in previous sessions. That's all we've got time for today. If you do have any questions, please do get in contact with us either here in the UK or, of course, with your local TPG office around the globe.